But you're planting the debate. You keep planting my position.
But then give me the drug.
I can't diagnose Adderall.
You mentioned Adderall.
No. You're building assumptions on top of one another with me. For example, I haven't made the contention that he has dementia because I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose him. But I can also look at him as a common sense human being and go, something's not right with Joe Biden, whatever it is. Then you use my assumption that I said dementia or whatever else it is. And
you said
and then
Adderall
use that as a way to say there's no performance enhancer that could solve these specific things that you made as part of the assumption.
Here's what I think, Will. I think the Biden cognitive decline story is a loser for the right, and this conversation is proving it. I'm willing to leave it there.
David Pakman got destroyed, per usual. That's like the usual thing for David Whackman. That's what we call him on his channel, David Whackman, with his loser, smug self. Got destroyed, started panicking, and bugged out. Let's get into this, man. Hit the like button. Drop some comments, share the video as well, and check out channel memberships if you want to help support what I do. It's crazy out here in these streets.
Hey,
Answer for Joe Biden in these situations.
You're jumping ahead. Let me get through it. So Adderall and Ritalin wouldn't do what you're suggesting. Provigil has a 12 to 15 hour duration. So again, like Byron Donald goes, you can tell because it wears off at the end of an hour. It doesn't work that way. And also Provigil's effect on dementia is 0. So now let me turn it around to you. You tell me the drug. It's weird to say, I think there might be a drug. David, tell me which one it is. You tell me what drug would do what you're suggesting.
Now, to be fair, okay, you've done two things there, okay, and we're shifting burdens of proof. But my burden of proof is not.
You asserted drugs, and I'm asking you what drugs.
I did not. Hold on, walk with me here. First, the Byron Donalds argument is a straw man with me because you specifically rebutted that it wears off. I never said that, and I don't think that undercuts or rebuts the idea that he could be on some type of performance enhancer. I also didn't make the affirmative statement that he is on performance enhancers. What I said to you is, you have contended that's absurd. Look at the guy. This is evidence of his cognitive abilities that he can rally for these big moments. What I'm telling you is my co-host or anybody else that says, or somebody sitting at the backyard barbecue says he's injected on all kinds of things to amp him up for the debate is not an absurd supposition. I don't have to prove the affirmative on it. I just have to tell you, you rejecting it is the burden of proof. You can't reject. And I think you have a hard hill to climb to say there's no way he's on anything like that.
In order to say it's not an absurd suggestion, you have to at least plausibly bring a specific substance known to man that would do what is being alleged, which is it would take someone suffering from cognitive decline who struggles to even understand what he's saying and make them coherent in the way that it is being described. So the burden of proof is on those who say it's plausible to say, here's the list of drugs that could do it. And even now, here's one other thing before you jump in.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect you to come up with the right drug because yesterday morning, Dr. Ronnie Jackson on Fox News couldn't even propose what drug would do it. If the pill guy from Air Force One can't suggest it, I know you're not going to be able to.
Well, and okay, to be fair, also, just because I'm into the logic of these debates, you rebutted Adderall based upon the premise of Byron Donald's statement that it wears off. You know, that's
only one element.
Additive to the contention that is only by one man, Byron Donald, said it wears off. It doesn't undercut the idea.
Forget about Byron. It also does not hide dementia symptoms, and it can make folks with dementia more agitated and anxious, which would be very bad for Biden's speeches.
I'm going to be honest. Well, first, I'm going to tell you that this video is for educational purposes. Then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if he was taking anything. I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is that I'm not ruling out nothing with nothing. So for David Pakman to literally blatantly say, no, this is impossible, it's like, how do you know, right? That's what I agree with the other guys. He's blatantly saying the same thing I'm saying. How do you know that? You're saying it's absolutely not possible. How can you 100% for sure say that? Do you have any proof that is not what people are thinking, right? And I don't think David Whackman has any proof. But then now he's going to just, start crying, do his little woke talking points, right? The same old as usual, same as usual, right? But just not working on me. Is it working on y'all?
Specifics, and I appreciate your use of specifics
I'm
on
being
certain things, but
specific.
now you've put into
I'm
my
using specifics.
But you're planting the debate. You keep planting my position.
But then give me the drug.
I
You
can't
mentioned
diagnose
Adderall. You mentioned
No.
Adderall.
You're building assumptions on top of one another with me. For example, I haven't made the contention that he has dementia because I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose him, but I can also look at him as a common sense human being and go, something's not right with Joe Biden, whatever it is. Then you use my assumption that I said dementia or whatever else it is. And
you said
and then
Adderall
use that as a way to say there's no performance enhancer that could solve these specific things that you made as part of the assumption.
Here's what I think, Will. I think the Biden cognitive decline story is a loser for the right, and this conversation is proving it. I'm willing to leave it there.
Okay, I disagree because I'll tell you this. We're talking about the average independent out there. I actually think it's one of the most important voting factors for the average independent. That they see.
David Wackman is so smug. Like, this guy's right. He keep doing straw mans. He's setting up arguments that this guy did not make so he could try to easily knock it down. And then tries to end it with, well, this and this and this, and you're horrible and wrong, and I'll leave it there. Of course you would leave it there. Of course you would leave it because it makes the left sound like champions, right? And the right sound like they're weak. No, that's not what's going on. How about you actually debate or argue the point? The guy that's sitting in front of you virtually seems like he's with it. What's the problem? What's the problem? I don't understand that. I don't get it. It's crazy. David Wackman is a smug, woke loser, right? That keeps trying to plant arguments. Yeah, it's not working. Not at all. But tell me what you guys think down in the comment section.
On with Joe Biden, and they sense a lack of competency. I don't mean in just intellectual failings. I mean age-related decline.
Why isn't it showing up in any poll that is a major concern for independent voters?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
By the way,
maybe it's not.
Well, I mean, maybe it is. David, let me ask you this. Let's both do this. I want you now to tell me your biggest criticism of your quote unquote side.
Okay. Just define my side so I know what we're talking about.
I wondered if you would do that. I mean, I think it's fair to say
I'm not a Democrat, so I just want to clarify. I'm not a Democrat. So if you meant the Democratic Party, the left. Okay, fair. No, that's fair. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't, and drop some comments, man. It really helps out the channel.
Good.
Yeah, I don't like
my
parties.
biggest criticism right now of the left.
You're the left.
My biggest criticism right now of the left is what I call litmus test leftism, where we might agree on 95% of stuff, but there are certain litmus tests that are put in place by some of my fellow leftists, which if you don't meet or pass, you're kicked out. And I've cited over the years many examples of this. When Jewish women weren't oppressed and intersectional enough to be part of the Women's March leadership, I immediately was alienated from the entire Women's March movement. Or when the, Queers for Palestine all of a sudden is melding movements that I think are separate movements, and I get alienated from the LGBT movement because I see the hostility towards folks like me who have a more balanced view on Israel. God,
that's like a setup for me to get in trouble. I have no hate or disdain for any community. I just have to let that be known. But that's a setup. That's a setup if I ever saw one. Nope. I'm not falling for it.
I don't want peace. I want problems always.
Is what I would say if I was going to say what I was about to say, you know? Sign up for my Patreon. That's what I'm going to say right there.
That type of litmus test leftism is one of my biggest gripes with my side right now.
All right, and to be fair, so I think that argument or that failing of the right has been something that people have talked about as well. It's like everything has to be pure at this point, but I'm actually not going to do that, even though I'm going to admit that's also a failing on the right. I would say the biggest criticism I have of quote unquote my side is that there's too much playing to the cheap seats, that there is too much. It's cliched to say outrage, right? Clickbait, viral. There's too much emphasis on what political people would say is rallying your base as opposed to winning over independents. To be honest, David, this is one of the things that, for example, I have learned to appreciate about Donald Trump. Ideologically, he is much more of a pragmatist. He is much more of a populist and is diverted from partisan politics that you would have seen a decade ago within Republicans. But the idea that everything has to, and look, I mean, you know, you're on YouTube, so we understand how everything has to be destroyed and everything has to be terrifying or whatever it may be. There's too much on the right that is focused on outraging the people that already agree with you.
That's very interesting. I have a different.
I think David Wackman got smoked again with his smug self trying to put out false narratives and a lot of nastiness. I just can't rock with it. I'm always going to think David Wackman's a loser because he's always going to be woke. Just the way it is, right? It's nasty work, super nasty work, man. It was embarrassing for him. He's just sitting there as smug as ever, as if he won everything. Just like, just leave it there. Shut up. How about that, man? Go on vacation, come back not woke. How about that? I like to see that. I like to see you come out and not grift to try to sell your trash ass book that nobody cares about. I would love to see that. Will we get that? Probably not. But tell me what you guys think down in the comments section. Hit the like button. Share the video as well. Subscribe if you haven't. Watch more videos and also check me out on memberships. Why not? Helps out the channel. Helps me keep going. More content.